In order to have a negotiation, you have to have conversations. And I think it's apparent, abundantly clear, that there has been a great divide between the players and our commissioner or the league office in order to have productive conversations. And now Nafisa's statement that she made in her exit interview is accountability. WNBA players never want to throw out all the smoke. They don't. They only do it when necessary. They're always strategic. They're always calculated. You talk about the t-shirt they wore at All-Star. That was a collective decision. These are members of the executive committee of the WNBA making these statements. And obviously, they understand the magnitude of the moment.
You are not going to believe what just happened. Picture this. Adam Silver, the commissioner himself, slams his hand down on the table with a resounding crack, his eyes locked on Cathy Engelbert, and he says with ice in his voice, "You crossed the line." We're talking about 4 players, a web of secret orders, and chilling threats. Silver's declaration that this ends now. In that single, explosive moment, the entire foundation of the WNBA world completely shattered. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty, you need to be locked in, because the story I'm about to tell you is more insane than anything the league has ever witnessed. In this dramatic, alternate universe version of the WNBA, the tension was already at a boiling point. You could feel it everywhere. Players were on edge, fans were absolutely furious, and sponsors were starting to ask some very uncomfortable questions. But nobody, and I mean nobody, could have predicted the bombshell that was about to drop. Rumors started swirling that 4 of the league's brightest rising stars had been suddenly cut. There was no warning, no press conference, no explanation whatsoever. The league just went completely silent, and that's when the whispers began to spread like wildfire. This wasn't a normal roster decision. Someone had ordered this, someone very high up. The entire league just froze. Reports started surfacing, claiming that in this fictional storyline, Cathy was becoming absolutely furious about the growing independence of the players, the shifts in popularity, and the tight-knit loyalties forming in the locker rooms. The story goes that she assigned a special internal agent with a dark mission: pressure these players, scare them into submission, and force them out of the league as quietly as possible. But as we all know, things like this rarely stay quiet for long.
And at the end of the day, she's worried about her. In all of her statements, it's all like, well, I got us here and I should. And Cathy, no one cares. Literally, no one cares. Like how you're sitting right there, that's how we feel every time she speaks. Every time she speaks, us as players, that's how we feel.
And, you know, I think what people need to understand, you know, we need great leadership in this time across all levels. This is a moment we have to capitalize on. So that's honestly what I would say. I think there's, you know, Fee said it all with what she said. And, you know, I think the points she made were very...
That's when the whole thing blew wide open. One player, taking a massive risk, leaks a damning voice note. Another follows suit, leaking a shocking email chain. Then, a third player goes live on social media, tears streaming down her face, saying, "We weren't cut, we were targeted." And with those words, everything changed. Adam Silver enters this fictional storyline not like a commissioner, but like an unstoppable storm. He reportedly cancels all of his high-level meetings and walks directly into the league's headquarters completely unannounced. People who saw him said his face was a mask of pure, raw disbelief. He reads the reports, he listens to the leaked recordings, he watches the heartbreaking live streams from these devastated young athletes. And finally, he says the 7 words that literally break the internet. If this is true, Cathy has sabotaged the league. What happens next is pure cinematic drama. Adam Silver storms into the executive conference room. Cathy looks up, trying to appear calm and collected, but the tension is suffocating. Adam slams a thick folder onto the polished table, the sound echoing through the room. 4 players, he says, his voice dangerously low. Internal pressure, targeting our rising stars. What in the world were you thinking? And Cathy in this fictional account replies with a chilling line, "I did what I had to. They were becoming bigger than the league."
Yesterday on First Take, you called for Cathy Engelbert's resignation from her role as WNBA commissioner. When you hear Caitlin Clark there, how does that strike you?
Doesn't strike me at all. Same reaction. Cathy Engelbert should resign as the commissioner of the WNBA. And the reason I said that, fellas, is because when a play, and I say that not in any kind of derogatory way, she was talking about Cathy Engelbert directly. She revealed private conversations, you understand, with quotes from this lady, the commissioner, about what she said that came across as dismissive, as derogatory, and unappreciative of the athletes that represent her league. And then the person I call the golden goose of the WNBA, Caitlin Clark, you understand, who is box office for the WNBA. Just look at the numbers, look at the ratings, look at everything. For her to come out and said, Fee said it all. She's letting you know that Nafisha Collier didn't lie, she didn't mince words, and she didn't misrepresent what the collective body of the league is feeling about this commissioner and her leadership. You cannot, and then the biggest point, guys, that I made yesterday, and this is the number one reason I called for Kathy Engelbert to resign. I don't care who it is. If somebody calls you out publicly and you're in a leadership position and you've been called out publicly and attacked that way, you don't give what I said was that weak ass response that Kathy Engelbert, I'm gonna say it again because people thought I stuttered just there. I don't know how, because I don't stutter. Weak ass comment. I'm gonna say it one more time. Weak ass comeback. That's what she did. When you were attacked like that, what you did was provide fodder to the belief that everything
Adam's jaw practically hits the floor. You can see the fury and disappointment warring on his face. He looks at her and says, "The players are the league." A heavy, profound silence fills the room, so thick you could cut it with a knife. After a long moment, Adam Silver stands up to his full height and delivers the verdict. "Kathy, you're suspended, effective immediately," gasps echo through the building. As the news spreads, security guards step forward, a clear signal that this is real. Phones immediately come out and people start recording, turning this private showdown into a viral earthquake that shakes the sports world to its core. Outside the building, fans begin to gather. Some are cheering Silver's decision, some are openly crying for the state of their league, and others are chanting, "Bring back the players." The investigation kicks into high gear, and what it uncovers is astonishing. It turns out, again in this completely fictional universe, that Kathy had been trying to seize total control over the future of the league. By forcing out players she saw as too powerful, too influential, or just too beloved by the fans, she thought she could consolidate her power. She wanted complete and total control. But instead of a quiet coup, she ignited a full-blown rebellion. Coaches started stepping forward to defend their players. Former legends of the game spoke out against the move. Even referees began sharing anonymous messages, all saying the same thing: "This has gone too far." This wasn't just one mistake. It was a catastrophic chain reaction. Inside the locker rooms, the emotional impact was devastating. One player breaks down completely, saying, "We gave everything to this sport, and they treated us like enemies." Another adds, "I just wanted respect. Instead, I got punished." Fans completely flood social media, their posts and videos demanding justice for the players. And I'll say it, they were right.
These are numbers when people talked about at the beginning of the season, the high tide lifts all boats or whatever, basically. Like, if you buy into this, everybody is going to eat. Yet you had people fighting tooth and nail the entire season, not wanting it to be this way because other people weren't getting flowers, or she was getting too much attention, or she gets a special whistle, or I'm gonna check her off the ball here just because. And then her teammate cheers for her for throwing her on the ground. It didn't get better. And it's disappointing to me because it's not every player in the WNBA. And I'm sure that there are many players who are happy to have her in the league. And it's like, if it was my league and somebody was coming in and bringing millions of people, like, I would be excited about that, because you know what? That's a chance for me to impress millions of people who weren't watching before.
The sponsors, seeing the absolute chaos, start calling the league headquarters, demanding answers, and threatening to pull their funding. The pressure builds and builds until it becomes absolutely unbearable. And that's when Adam Silver makes his final stand, declaring, "The players deserve protection. The league deserves honesty." And this ends now. A full emergency board meeting is called. Adam Silver stands before them and presents every single piece of evidence, every leaked message, every witness statement, every single damning detail. Then he makes the official announcement: Kathy Engelbert is removed from her position. Effective today. The room erupts. Some are shocked into silence, some look profoundly relieved, and some even begin applauding. But Adam isn't finished. He ends the meeting with a powerful promise. The WNBA will rebuild, and we will rebuild it with the players at the center of everything we do. The news sparks celebrations among the fans. The targeted players are reinstated and return to their teams. The sponsors, seeing a league committed to integrity, rejoin their partnerships. The message couldn't be clearer. This league only rises when its players rise. Adam Silver stands at the podium for a final press conference and says, "This is a new era. There will be no fear, no threats, no targeting. There will be only basketball." The camera slowly fades to black. The story ends and the WNBA in this dramatic tale is forever changed for the better.